I have worked in nonprofit my entire adult life in mainly theater and arts, and we moved to Amherst about 2.5 years ago. And then one day I was on a website and saw this posting for a job that it was one of those moments where you're like, oh, I could have written that job description and it would be me. And I called this gentleman named Tony Maroulis, and he called me back an hour later and said, I don't know where you found this. We already are down to our last 3 candidates. The job search is over, but we'll meet with you. And several interviews later and a lot of conversations, and here I was taking this job. And it definitely, I'd never heard of a business improvement district. I didn't know what it was, but I loved the description, and I knew that the job, what it entailed was sort of me. It sort of was tailor fit, so it was a really nice thing. So I started 2 years ago, and 6 months later we went into what Governor Baker called shelter in place. Kind of right as we were gaining a ton of momentum and had all of these ideas of how to create Amherst as a destination and, you know, sort of change the downtown and rebuild and reform. We had started a foundation right before that. It's called the Downtown Amherst Foundation, and its mission is to build arts and culture as destination economic and community building in our downtown. And we received our 501c3 tax letter on March 13th as we were closing the office, locking the doors, and heading home. So it was a really heartbreaking moment in a lot of ways. And then during the pandemic, we found a way to totally shift and use that foundation to be an incredible sort of moment or beacon of good and light. We right now are very, very focused on building arts and culture as a destination economic and community driver for Amherst. Innovation means creating and getting creative and going out of your comfort zone and stepping into things that may or may not work. And I think what we were able to do during the pandemic was really kind of get creative with how to keep our businesses supported and how to keep people, you know, literally at that point alive. I've worked my entire adult life, and whenever I'm getting too stressed, I remind myself that I'm not saving lives here. And during this pandemic, we actually were. So that was different, and that created a need for innovation and a need to do things that were way outside of our comfort zones. And I think we stepped up and we really went out there and we put ourselves out there. We kept our boots on the ground and we kept going out, and we met with small business owners pretty much every day throughout the entire pandemic, trying to help them get through this and see a way to, you know, sort of a brighter future or any future at all. And I think innovation is that ability to just say, this can or cannot work, but we're going to give it a try. And we got really lucky because I think we were like, everything we threw out there, it really stuck and it worked. One of the things that worked for us, and one of the things that made our innovation successful, was our teamwork. 2 organizations who had never really collaborated and worked together decided that the only way through this was to work together and do this together. And it came down to a table. 4 legs of a table. If you remove a leg, you're in really big trouble. So we had John Page, we had Ann Tweedy, we had Claudia Paznani, and we had myself. And the 4 of us, that was the base for being able to be successful in this pandemic, and it was invaluable.